Hi, and welcome to Why Not with Janice, and I'm your host, Janice. Having another episode with Dr. Isaiah Simpson. Last time we spoke to him, we were focusing on solutions to the racial tensions in America. This time, we're going to talk to Pastor Isaiah Simpson on overcoming racism, okay? Let me welcome my guest again, Dr. Isaiah Simpson of Spiritual Israel Temple of Christ Church in Chicago Heights. Welcome to the show.
Thank you again for having me. As always, I give honor to the Holy Father, the King of all Israel, which is Jesus Christ. It is absolutely a pleasure to be on the show again.
Great, happy to have you again. So today's topic, we're going to talk about overcoming racism.
Yes, yeah.
There's a lot of tension going on right now. We need to overcome racism. A lot of people think that's holding them back from becoming doctors, lawyers, television, because of the color of their skin. But we recently just saw a video clip I did on the news. Morgan Freeman was one of the examples in the video that was saying that it's not about the color of your skin. It's if you really want it, you can get it. He thought that racism doesn't exist, and if it does exist, you can overcome it. Well, what are your thoughts on that, Dr. Simpson?
Okay, so thank you for that. And I am a Morgan Freeman fan, actually. And so what I'm about to say is unbiased. I disagree with the statement that he may have used if he said that racism does not exist, because it certainly does. Racism simply says that my race is superior than yours. And that has been shown throughout centuries of being an ideology. That very much so exists, even to the point that it manifests in physical bonding, slavery to a particular group of people, the Black folks in America, Black people in America. And so racism is very much alive today in 2020 as it was in 1611. And so we're seeing that. We're seeing that in the George Floyd issues, in Trayvon Martin issues, and all the different things that we're seeing. We're seeing that, and we know it's alive. But there is a way to overcome it. And as we said before in our last conversation, that not all white people are racist, and not all Black people are thugs. And so a healthy conversation and understanding between races would help us to get to a place where we can walk together in harmony. And but that conversation can only be had if both parties are willing to be patient and willing to listen with an intent to understand and not respond.
Correct. I know for what he was replying is that it hasn't held him back. He is worried that he's a great actor. He's been all over. I mean, he's even acting the president on television.
Yes.
So it hasn't held him back. And he thinks that, from what my understanding of the clip that they had, was that some people use it as a crutch on why they can't get ahead. Do you think a lot of people are using that as a crutch because of your skin color, you can't get ahead, or because of your skin color, you have the white privilege that you can get ahead a lot easier?
I love that you asked that question. I'm gonna try to be as detailed as I can, as short as I possibly can. White privilege is very real. That the use of us being Black and we can't get ahead as a crutch is also very real. Just as real as there are systematic strategies put in place to keep Black people from getting ahead, I believe that is real too. I do believe that there are people that sit in high-ranking seats in the government and high-ranking seats in society that share those old ideologies and would prefer to see their white brothers and sisters or their white neighbors,
Right.
their fellow white people or Caucasian brothers and sisters in higher places than over the Black person. Black people are the last hired and the first fired. That is a reality.
Correct.
Statistics show
Right.
that. So there is a system in place, but as we discussed before we were on the air, and I enjoyed the conversation, that has not stopped Medgar Evers. That didn't stop wonderful people like Nelson Mandela, Maya Angelou. It didn't stop all of these wonderful African Americans that we see today as heroes. That didn't stop Madam C.J. Walker. It didn't stop W.E.B. Du Bois. It didn't stop these great people like Marcus Garvey. It didn't stop them. It allowed them. If anything, the oppression of the society that they were in motivated them to excel and exceed in their goals. And I'm a personal believer in the Bible. And the Bible shows me and preaches to me and tells me that it's only through the fire that our true strengths are shown. And so I believe that we as a people, as African Americans, as Black people, we have to get away from using the crutch of, well, this society is against me, so I'll never be able to do anything. I would submit to my fellow Black brothers and sisters that you will never be able to do anything as long as you believe that for yourself. Correct. It is your own mind and your own spirit and the will of God that allows you to succeed and excel in anything that you put your hands to. And so we have to get away from the mindset that I can't achieve, I can't get the degree, school is not for me, I won't get the job because of the color of my skin. That's false. You're not going to get the degree. You won't do well in school. You won't get the job, not because of the color of your skin, but because of where your mind is. And once you set your mind free from believing that you are a slave to yourself, once you set your mind free and you become free within your own spirit, you'll be able to do anything. Paul tells us this way in Philippians chapter 4. He says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And what that scripture does is it negates any opposing force. And what it also does is it gives us strength, not just in who you are as a person, but in the indwelling spirit of Christ within.
Correct. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, there's also the premise that a lot of kids and younger people think, well, these people were lucky, like suppose Morgan Freeman, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey. These are some very powerful people, Tyler Perry, very wealthy people that actually worked hard and they saw that's what they wanted and they went for it. They didn't let anything stop them from the color of their skin at all. But we have the society now that's stopping, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. Why can't you go to college? I hate to say it, but it's more minorities that are able to go to college because we do have a lot of the funding to go free, things like that, or scholarships that are to people of color. So you have to stop that crutches and actually drop them and think differently, and then success can be possible.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I know you got to get to the next question, but I'm glad you brought that up because we have to use that. There are grants. I went to school off of grants, scholarships, of course, and all this different. But I definitely used the scholarships of being African American. And I use those different scholarships and those different advances so that I can get a higher education, receive my degrees. I definitely did that, and I don't have a problem with that at all. I find it as an honor that my ancestors, they worked hard, they fought, they died, they bled, they cried, they went through all kinds of things so that I could have education, so that I and the people that come after me could have a better life. And so why not use those advances? Why not go to school? Why not chase that degree or pursue that dream job or whatever? Why not? Especially when you have the chance to do it. And I'm not going to allow anybody, Black or white or I'm not going to allow anybody to stop me from getting to what I believe I'm called, what I have dreamed for, what I prayed for, what I've struggled for, what I have endured for. No one can stop me from that. Not a system, not a particular race, not my own family. And my idea and my perspective is that if there's something that you truly want, you wouldn't allow anybody to stop you from
it. When you truly, truly want, you don't stop someone. You actually, if you truly want it. And that's part of the things I do. I do life coaching. But as you said, though, why not? I mean, why let something stop someone?
Exactly.
I know we're talking about racism and overcoming racism. Some of my viewers know and some don't know, I am married to a Caucasian male. And with that, even overcoming, going to different places, being a husband, wives of interracial backgrounds, overcoming that issue that people see you differently. But that was in us to decide, hey, we're not going to let someone stop us from doing something, from comments or anything like that because of our background. The same with school. You can go back to school. My husband is 60 years old, and he's a college student back in junior level.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah.
He took advantage of programs that he was able to get a hold of because his job went back to, they went to Mexico, that he was able to do funding. So he didn't let people say that, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. It doesn't matter about racism. It doesn't matter about age. It's people have to mentally think they can. They have to overcome that, who they are. We have to know who we are in Christ, who we are in ourselves. And I think that's where people misses the ball. They missed that part. And okay, so how do you reflect this to your parishioners about being themselves? Because I know you preach also, obviously, about God and values and characters. But how do you preach to them about overcoming things like that? Because it's more than just racism. It's overcoming low self-esteem and how their interpretation of who they are, not knowing who they really are.
Low self-esteem is a result of the lack of affirmation. And so and everyone needs to be affirmed. The first affirmation you should receive is from your parents. As a father, I affirm my child and say, you are a Simpson because I am a Simpson. You are this. This is what I'm teaching you. This is who you are. I love you. You are strong. You're mighty. You're great. You're beautiful. You're handsome. My job as a father to a son or to a daughter is to affirm my child. And then as time goes on, my child's going to go to school. And my child is going to do well in school and do good things. And then the teacher will affirm the child and say, hey, you got an A. Good job. Here's a sticker. You know, when you go to elementary school, here's a sticker. And there's all types of incentives. When you go to high school, and you know, here you did good. You are now. You graduate now. And when you go on your job, you're doing good on your job. Here's a bonus. Here's a raise. All of these things are affirmation. So low self-esteem comes from the lack of affirmation. And so when you're feeling low in your esteem, that shows that there's a lack of affirmation in a particular area. And so we see specifically with our Black brothers and sisters, low self-esteem, and it's because of a lack of affirmation. When you have undergone centuries of being told that you were nothing, being told that you were just like all the other animals in the field, and being told that you have to stay in the barn and you're not worthy to live in a house, that mentally transfers from the parent to the child. And so now what we're beginning to see is a transfer of belief, and that belief is rooted in low self-esteem. And so the way I go about teaching my congregation is I teach them, number one, I teach them who they are in Christ. I teach them who God has made them and who he has ordained them to be. That's the first thing I do. We call it the foundation. I give you foundation. This is who God made you. This is how he made you. This is what his purpose was for you. Then after that foundation is given, what we then begin to do is we begin to draw out what your strengths are, and then we begin to praise those strengths, and then we begin to work with those strengths and say, okay, this strength. Excuse me, when I say work with those strengths, what I mean is we direct them. So this is a strength. So this is how you'll use it to help your community, to help your family, to help whoever you come across with. These are your strengths. But also with strengths, we have to embrace weaknesses. And so after those strengths have been noticed, now we say, okay, now this is where you fall short at. And this is not, and so what we do is now we notice we have to put attention in the spotlight on where your weaknesses are. And so we understand this is your weakness. So now we got to see what we can do to put strength to that, to give knowledge to that weakness so that we can empower you in that particular area. And so that's the strategy I use at Spiritual Israel, that our team uses for our membership, is we give foundation, and then we praise your strengths, and then we highlight your weaknesses. And we tell you, do not be ashamed of them, glorifying your weaknesses. And the reason why you should glorify your weaknesses is because what it does is it humbles you. It lets you know that, hey, you're not good at everything. You're not the best at everything. And that's okay. That makes you a human. And it also, what it does, it helps you to relate and be understandable and approachable to other people, you know.
Correct. I do agree with that. Correct. People need to understand that who they are, and it's who you are as a person, not as based on your race. And that's because you can take the other side of how we have the white privilege that people think certain Caucasian people will think that they have the white race, the white privilege. So if they know who they are as people, regardless of who they are by the color of their skin, is where we need to direct people to. And that comes from the household. It comes from home, the church, the school, and society. But society needs dictating who we are. I mean, you see on television, we don't even have good, wholesome shows. A lot of these shows show people, the TV reality shows, that everyone wants to be and become rich, but there's no wholesome value and character in a lot of those shows, unfortunately.
Yes, agreed. Yes.
Or we can overcome racism, we also have to really overcome who we are and knowing who we are in Christ and in ourselves. So
yeah, that's true.
Okay. So my next question for you is, how do you think this is going to manifest with reducing racial tension and reducing the different strifes that we're having, the arguments, the fights, the breakouts when it comes to cops, the tension of people wanting to be more vocal, but being vocal on the violent side? Is any of this going to help people can develop who they are and realize that we can get our voices across without being violent and overcome racism that way?
Here's the beautiful thing about that. There is, at one point, and even to a certain extent now, we had great leadership. And unfortunately, that we're lacking that today. Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., brought something to us that we never really fully understood how powerful it was. And that was the method of nonviolence. Now, he's not the founder or the creator of that, of course. Jesus practiced nonviolence. And Martin Luther King learned that the practice of nonviolence, being a Christian minister, not from Jesus, but from Gandhi, who practiced nonviolence for his people to get freedom and justice for his people. But Dr. Martin Luther King showed us great leadership. And he was a vocal man who knew how to speak in a way that all people could hear him and understand him, even if they disagreed. And many disagreed with Dr. King, but they all understood him. As a matter of fact, it was because they understood him that he got killed. Because those who fully understood what his message was and what he was trying to say and disagreed took action. So what we really, if we want to see a healthy conversation between the races, and if we want to see some change, we have to, number one, submit ourselves to proper leadership. Because the only way you can have a conversation amongst races is not through millions of people of one race talk to millions of people of another race, but we need spokesmen. We need spokesmen. Black people need a spokesman. We need people who will speak for us, and so do white people. And this does not have to be an uncomfortable conversation, because there is a race issue, and so we need to hear the white side, and we need to hear the black side. And I am intentionally I'm not being politically correct intentionally. I'm not saying African American. I'm not saying Caucasian American for a reason. I'm saying black and white, because we hear this all the time. I don't see color, and I tell people who say stuff like that, and I know what they mean.
Right.
But when I hear people say, I don't see color, I tell them you're a fool. Because God saw color, because he made us in different colors for a reason.
Right.
You know, you need to see my color, because my color is part of who I am.
Right.
I'm a black man, and I'm proud to be a black man. God did not make me, he didn't make me Puerto Rican, he didn't make me Hispanic, he didn't make me Chinese, he didn't make me white, he made me black, and I'm glad to be black. And
Right.
and the same thing to the white man, or to the Caucasian man, to the Puerto Rican man. I don't have a problem with white pride. I don't have a problem with Hispanic pride. I don't have a problem with Puerto Rican pride. But don't be mad at me for having black pride. I have a pride in who I am. And everybody should have a pride in who they are. And when we have that conversation, we have to have it intelligently and respectfully. That it's okay to be white and proud that you're white. That's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing, because I'm black and I'm proud to be black. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my people. I'm proud of where I come from. I'm proud of my custom, of knowing who I am truly, and knowing my future, my present circumstance, my future, what I can do to advance it. And so, yeah, there can definitely be a change with the masses, and with the difference of opinion, but it has to be respect, and it has to be understanding. White people have to understand the black people, and the black people have to understand the white people. Let me just put the cherry on top, and then we can get to the next question. But I really want to just kind of add to this. I'm glad we're doing this interview, because I'm going to drive my point tonight. And I'm going to be as real and as authentic as Isaiah Dominique Simpson can be.
Okay.
Black people, and I'm saying this as a black man who's proud to be black, who loves black people, love my people, all about my people. If anybody who knows me personally, who goes to our church, or whatever the case may be, they can tell you Isaiah Simpson loves black people. So when I say this is not to demean black people, because I'm a black man. My mother's black, so my father's black. I love black people. Black people have to understand that they have gotten lazy. Black people have gotten lazy. This is a real conversation I'm going to have.
Okay.
Black people have gotten lazy. And I'm going to tell you why we've gotten lazy. Because we spent centuries working. Yeah, that's why. So when I say that we're lazy, we are. We don't want to get up and go to work. Don't want to get up and go to school. We want to do everything the easy way. We want to make the quick money. We want to do the quick schemes. And so we're lazy. But we're lazy for a reason, because we spent centuries in cotton fields. We spent centuries nursing other people's children. And not being able to mother our own children because they were sold to different plantations. We spent centuries being raped and being molested, being murdered, being hung on trees. Our black males were raped by their slave masters in front of their wives to prove a point to the women that your man can't do nothing for you. That happened to us. So yeah, we're lazy for a reason. And so I want to give that reason. So black people, we're lazy. And we fallen into a deep sleep and into a coma, and it's time to wake up and get back to work. But when we get back to work, we don't have to get back to work as slaves. We can get back to work as owners, entrepreneurs, as businessmen, and as businesswomen, as mothers, and as fathers, and beautiful citizens of our community to raise up our people. Now, let me speak to the white people. White folks. White folks. I love you. I grew up with two white best friends. One was Polish, one was of German descent. And they were my best friends. White people in America are privileged. White privilege is real. And for the most part, all white people are privileged. Now, when I say privileged, I don't mean in your mind. I don't mean that you believe, because we hear that term white privilege, what we think it means that all white people think that they're better. That's called white supremacy.
Correct.
So there's a difference. We have to have definition. That's white supremacy. White supremacy says, I believe in my own mind that because of my race, I'm better. I don't believe that all white people are white supremacists. You'll be treated better than me because of your skin. That is the truth. Right. My white friend, my white best friends coming up when I was younger, it's not a question that if we were in a certain part of this country, in a certain part of town at a certain hour, then I would probably be in more trouble than they would.
Correct.
That's the truth. That's called white privilege, because they're white and I'm black. And so white privilege is real, and it's a lot, and it's real for every white person in America because they're white, you know. And so again, and I want to make sure, so white people have to understand that you're privileged. Sorry, you have to understand that you're privileged. Black people have to understand that they're a little lazy, and they got to come on up and stop being lazy and stop allowing stuff to happen. Stop allowing issues to overcome them, or allowing a system to overcome them, and get to work, you know, and build yourself up. And white people have to understand that they're privileged, and that they have to humble themselves to a certain extent when it comes to black people, as far as their understanding, because they have a lot of opportunities that are not necessarily allocated to us. And when I say opportunities, I mean something as simple as me. This is a very real thing. I am a black man who has never been arrested for any criminal actions or anything like that. Never, ever. And I get nervous when police pull behind me driving. I do.
Correct.
I do. It's just a reality. I'm just being honest tonight. And so, and not to say that certain white people don't, but you can rest assured as a white man that if the police gets behind you, you're not as nervous as a black man.
Right.
Because me as a black man, I might, if a police officer gets behind me, what's in my mind is, I hope I get home tonight.
Right. Now, we have a few more minutes left, but yeah, getting to that, white privilege, my ex-husband, one reason I really saw white privilege right away was he bought his car around his birthday. This is over a year afterwards. Went through a stop sign in an all-white neighborhood, was speeding, went through a stop sign, got pulled over. His driver's license expired because it was after his birthday. The insurance was expired. The sticker in the window expired. The plate expired. And the cop is like, "Miss, do you at least have a license and insurance? You can drive." I'm like, what? If that was me, I would have been spread eagle on the ground. I won't say I have a knee on my neck or anything like that, but I would definitely be in the paddy wagon. They just gave him a reprieve. Go ahead. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I never saw it firsthand, that extreme. We have an extreme, me and my ex-husband actually had a restaurant in LaGrange, it's no longer there, that the waitress quit versus serving us. So we're sitting there like thinking, well, maybe it's just crowded while they haven't served us. 30 minutes later, manager comes over to us and they're like, "Oh, she left." I was like, wow, okay. It's like free food for you guys. So I ordered a big steak. But it was like, wait, it was like, wow, I've seen it both ways of racism, being pulled over while being black. I call it DWB, driving while black. Well, we need to overcome these racism. It's more than just racism, the color of our skin. We have to know who we are in Christ and who we are in ourselves. So,
agreed.
Well, we have just one quick statement I can give you. We're almost out of time.
Okay, let me give one quick statement. I can go long, so let me just do this quickly. To all of our brothers and sisters, let me speak to our black brothers and sisters tonight, because I'm here for you and I love you. Let me say this: pro-black does not mean anti-white. You'll hear that in my protest that I did. Pro-black does not mean anti-white. I am a pro-black man. And what that means is that I am for the advancement of my people. I understand that our people, our black brothers and sisters, have been downtrodden, have not been heard, have been mistreated, have been abused. And I want to stand for you and let you know that I love you. And I'm standing with you. And do not be ashamed or do not be offended if I'm standing with you with white brothers and sisters who feel the same way as I do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show again, Dr. Simpson. This is Janice with Why Not. Please watch us on Facebook and YouTube and like our channel. And we will see you soon again. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.